Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down a really powerful idea about why the American dream feels, well, out of reach for so many of us. The promise has always been that if you work hard, you can succeed. But what if the rules of the game have totally changed? So let's just jump right in with the huge question. We've always been told that ambition, hard work, it's free. It's something anyone can have. But what if that's just not true anymore? What if the American dream now comes with a price tag? And the source we're looking at today puts it this way. It asks, what if our society has put up these invisible price tags on ambition that, frankly, only a select few can really afford? I mean, just think about that. It's suggesting that in a land that's supposed to be all about opportunity, just trying to get ahead has become a luxury good. All right, Section 1, A Dream Deferred. We're going to explore why social mobility has stalled despite all this unprecedented progress. And this really gets to a huge contradiction, right? We're surrounded by unbelievable wealth, incredible technology, but for so many people, that path to success feels completely blocked. So what's going on? Well, the analysis we're digging into argues that the core of the issue is this rising cost of initiative. So the problem isn't a lack of talent or ambition or desire to succeed. No, it's something else entirely. Okay, so Section 2, the cost of initiative. We're going to redefine freedom here as the tangible ability to act. Because you're probably asking, what does the cost of initiative even mean? Well, to really get it, we have to kind of rethink what freedom itself is. And this brings us to a key concept from our source, functional freedom. See, the idea here is that real freedom isn't just about the absence of rules telling you no. It's not just what you're allowed to do on paper. It's about whether you have the actual, tangible ability to act. Do you have the resources to cover the cost of taking that initiative? And believe me, this cost isn't just some abstract idea. It's very real. Look at its breakdown. Whether you're trying to launch a business, with all the startup capital and legal fees, or pursue science, which means costly education and fighting for grants, or even get into politics or social activism, each one has a seriously steep price you have to pay, often before you even get started. All right, Section 3 is ambition's price tag, and we're going to look at how these real-world costs create very real barriers to opportunity. So let's get concrete here. How do these price tags actually pop up in real life and just stop people in their tracks? A perfect example is higher education. I mean, it used to be this amazing springboard for social mobility, right? But the source argues it's now a crushing burden. You're saddled with this mountain of debt that just stifles any kind of risk-taking for decades. How can you start a business or pursue a passion project when you're chained to a safe job just to make your loan payments? And this, right here, just brilliantly illustrates the massive difference a financial safety net makes. I mean, look at this comparison. For a wealthy person, a failed business is a valuable learning experience. But for someone without that cushion, it's a catastrophe. We're talking bankruptcy, crushing debt. Suddenly, the right to fail, which is absolutely essential for any kind of innovation, becomes a luxury only the rich can afford. Which brings us to Section 4, who benefits from barriers? We're going to explore the vested interests in keeping things just the way they are. Because you have to ask, right? If these barriers are so bad for society, why do they still exist? The source points to a really simple and maybe uncomfortable answer. Mass initiative means mass competition. And the argument goes like this. The people already at the top, whether they realize it or not, have an interest in keeping the cost of entry high. Think about it. Big corporations lobby for complex rules that make it harder for small startups to compete. The political establishment kind of likes a system where money buys access and influence. And social elites, well, they work to protect their exclusive networks, to give their own kids a leg up. It's a system that's almost perfectly designed to maintain the status quo. Okay, so how does this play out in politics? That brings us to Section 5, a political battleground. Because this whole cost of initiative idea really helps define the divide between the two parties, even if they don't talk about it in these exact terms. So, according to the source material, the two parties offer two totally different answers to this problem. The Democratic approach, as it's presented here, is based on the idea that poverty comes from a lack of opportunity. So the goal is to lower that cost of initiative with things like student debt forgiveness or expanding healthcare. The Republican approach, on the other hand, is framed as coming from a philosophy that poverty is more of a personal choice. So the goal there is to incentivize work by cutting social assistance, which the source argues, in effect, just raises the cost of survival, never mind trying to get ahead.
And here's the bottom line, according to the source. This whole cycle leads to societal stagnation. When you make it so that only a privileged few can afford to experiment and take risks, progress for everyone slows to a crawl. The entire society loses its dynamism and becomes, well, fragile. So if this system is the problem, what's the solution? That's what Section 6, Redesigning the Dream, is all about. This isn't just about pointing out what's wrong. The author proposes a path to unleash our full human potential through a pretty fundamental redesign. And the way out, according to this analysis, isn't simply more welfare payments. No, it's about fundamentally changing the rules of the game. We're talking about 4 big steps here: radical education reform to make it affordable, simplifying entrepreneurship, universal health care so it's not tied to your job, and real campaign finance reform. The whole point is to lower that cost of initiative and empower everyone to act on their ambitions.
And really, this whole argument can be boiled down to this one powerful quote: true freedom is not merely the right to dream, but the power to act. It's a call to redefine what freedom even means in the 21st century. I mean, what good is having a right on paper if you don't have the actual power to use it? And that leaves us with a final, really big question to chew on. What is the true price of a dream, and who should be able to afford it? Is ambition something we're okay with only a select few being able to pay for?